Hi everyone, I hope you're all okay. I'm going to read today. I'm going to upload this video to our new YouTube channel that we have for High Craig's Primary Leadership Academy, which you can all log into and have a look. Lots of teaching staff will be uploading videos over the upcoming weeks. I'm going to start by reading you this story here, Lost and Found. You'll know this story. It's just one of my favourite stories. I read it quite a lot. So I'm going to read it and maybe stop and ask you some questions about it. Okay, right, so Lost and Found, as we know, it's a story about a little boy and a penguin. So once upon a time, there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. So I couldn't read that upside down. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So I can think about my speech bubbles, and you could think, why do you think the penguin is sad? Why do you think the penguin is sad? So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked into the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he didn't know how. So we got the question, couldn't we? How do you think the boy could help the penguin? How do you think the boy can help the penguin? So you could have a think about that, couldn't you? How do you think the boy could help the penguin? How would you help the penguin if you were going to help the penguin? What would you do to help him? The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? What could you find out about penguins? So if you were thinking, well, let's do some research on penguins, what could you find out? What do you know about them? Obviously, it says in this book that they live in the South Pole. What else? What do they eat? Where do they live? What do they need to survive? How many penguins is there? How many different sorts of penguins? How many different breeds of penguins are there? Lots of things you could find out. See if you could do that. He ran down to the harbour and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. So together, he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. The boy took his rowboat out of the cupboard and they tested it for size and strength. They packed everything they would need. What do you think they would need to do a journey? If you were sailing to the South Pole, what would you need to take with you? What would you decide to take? You have a think. Maybe if you could only take 5 things with you, what 5 things would you choose to take to the South Pole and why? Maybe explore it, maybe research it. Remember when people went to the South Pole, because lots of people have been on expeditions to the South Pole, what did they take and why? What sort of things would you need to take with you? If you were building a rowing boat to take to the South Pole, what would you build it out of? What would you need? Would it be strong enough? Would it be the right sort of boat to take to the South Pole or not? Would you need something a little bit more substantial to go with you to take you to the South Pole? And together, they packed together everything they would need, and together they pushed the rowboat out to sea. They rowed south for many days. They rowed south for many days and nights, with the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything that the boy said. They floated through good weather and bad, when the waves were as big as mountains, until they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. Why do you think the penguin looked sad again? Have a think back. The penguin looked sad at the beginning of the story, didn't it? Why suddenly does the penguin start to look sad again now? What do you think? And there's the South Pole there. I wonder, I'd love to think that the South Pole really does have a big sign like that saying, "Welcome to the South Pole." I'd love to think that. The boy said goodbye and floated away. But he looked back. But as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever. It felt strange to be on his own, and the more he thought, the more he realised he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost, he was just lonely. Quickly, he turned the boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. What do we notice here? As he's sailing back, the penguin is coming back the other way, floating on his umbrella. At last he reached the South Pole, but the penguin was nowhere to be seen. Sorry, at last he reached the pole again, but where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Sadly, the boy set off home. There was no point in telling stories because there was no one to listen, except the wind and the waves. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see the penguin. And there we are. It's a lovely, happy ending. The boy has found his penguin and they are friends. I love this story. I love the pictures. I love the story. So you could think about maybe writing your own, couldn't you? You could use some of these phrases. Once upon a time, once there was. Could you write your own story about a boy or a girl having a new friend, going on an expedition together? Could you use some of these to help you with your writing? Then this happened. What could happen in your story? What else could we put in? In the end, they discovered. Some good openers here. Luckily, could we include that? Okay, lots of things we could do then, based around this story here. So see if you can come up with your own ideas for Lost and Found. See if you could innovate it. See if you could rewrite it into a slightly different way. See if you could redo the pictures. Take the story and add some pictures, add some different pictures. See if you could change the character from a penguin to somebody else, or from a boy to somebody else, from the South Pole to a different location. Instead of an umbrella, what could you have instead? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Keep looking at this YouTube channel. There'll be lots of things coming up over the next few days, next few weeks. Lots of teachers and staff from the school will be posting up their own videos. We'll look forward to seeing that. Okay, take care. See you soon. Bye.